They're the only, MLB is the only pro sports entity in North America that does not have a salary cap.
This season, one basketball team will spend $416 million on its roster. Another will spend $79. Same league, same rulebook, same game.
Does baseball have a problem, or is just this the 21st century version of what Steinbrenner was doing for the Yankees?
And the Dodgers situation, because it's so front and center, because of the two-time World Series champions and everything they do is a focus of public attention, this is helping to bring it to a head. Most observers believe that a lockout after this season, which would take effect in December of 26 and would imperil at least a portion of the 27 baseball season, the way they look at it now, a lockout is almost inevitable.
And before this year is out, the doors to every ballpark in America could be chained shut. The players won't be the ones who close them. The owners will. They'll tell you it's about fairness, about competition, about saving the sport. It isn't. It's about a number, and a word the players just put on the table that the owners have spent 35 years praying you'd forget. Start with the number, because the number is the whole story. The Los Angeles Dodgers will spend around $416 million on their roster this year.
The Dodgers set a new record. They will pay $169.4 million in competitive balance tax, a new MLB record. That is the highest in Major League Baseball history, topping the 2023 New York Mets that had a payroll of $374.7 million. The Dodgers last year had a $353 million payroll. That was the third highest. So, guess what? It wasn't just the Dodgers that paid CBT tax in 2025. Not other teams did it, and they're all the big market teams that you would expect.
The Miami Marlins will spend about $79. That gap, $337 million, is larger than the entire payroll of almost every other team in the league. In most sports, this simply can't happen. The NFL has a hard salary cap. So does the NBA. So does the NHL. A ceiling, a floor, a fixed band every team has to live inside. Baseball has none of it. Major League Baseball is the only one of the 4 major leagues in North America with no salary cap at all.
That discrepancy, you're absolutely right. But I'm talking about there's not one team, there's not even 3 teams in Major League Baseball that could spend that kind of money. There's several teams that could spend. They're choosing not to. The way it is, baseball will go out of business if this continues. So I'm not disagreeing with y'all. I'm just simply pointing out that there's several teams that could have spent the money and chose not to.
No, and you're right.
And the Dodgers stockpile.
Right. And you're 100%.
We agree with that.
You're 100% right about that.
30 teams, more than $12 billion a year in revenue, and no ceiling on what the richest can spend, or floor under what the cheapest can refuse to. The owners look at that gap and call it a crisis. Hold on to that word, because in a minute you're going to find out who built it. Here's what the owners want: a hard salary cap, a true ceiling, somewhere around $245 million, a floor near $171. The distance between the biggest and smallest spenders squeezed under $75 million, and a 50-50 split of the league's revenue. They will call this competitive balance. The players hear something very different, because the current labor deal expires at 11:59 p.m. on December 1st. If there is no new one, the owners lock the players out.
Today was truly the last day for what could be considered as win-win as possible for both sides here, the players and the owners. They kept pushing back the deadline for not playing a full 162-game schedule. And then today at about 2 o'clock, they essentially said it had to be done in 1 hour or 162 games just flat out was not going to happen. Well, sure enough, the Players Union voted on and approved the owner's offer, so baseball will begin basically immediately.
No games, no signings, potentially no 2027 season. And this is not a bluff. It has happened before. The last time the owners shut the game down to force a cap, back in 1994.
It is now official. No more regular season, no extended version of the playoffs, and for the first time since 1904, no World Series, Brendan. Stuff pretty. Yogi Berra said it ain't over till it's over. He was talking about the 73 Mets. Now Yogi could say this one's definitely over. The World Series has been played on in the midst of 2 world wars, in the midst of the Depression era, but now in 1994, in the midst of the greed era in Major League Baseball. No World Series. No more baseball this year.
They canceled the World Series outright. The players have looked at the cap, looked at the lockout clock ticking toward December, and answered with a single word. They are calling the owner's plan institutionalized collusion. That's not an insult, that's an accusation, and a precise one, because the last time the owners colluded, it came with a receipt.
Like a lot of things in life, you anticipate something and fear that it's coming, hope that it isn't. And when the day is here, there's an incredible amount of sadness.
The winters of 1985, 86, and 87, free agency was barely a decade old, and the best players in baseball reached the open market and found no one bidding. Not because they weren't wanted, because quietly the owners had agreed among themselves not to want them. At the urging of the commissioner, Peter Ueberroth, the clubs stopped competing for one another's free agents. Salaries froze.
There appeared to be no urgency, no desire to go to any extraordinary lengths to find an agreement. Every reason to believe, given the calmness with which this announcement was preceded, that this was something the owners had long since, weeks if not months ago, come to accept as necessary.
Stars re-signed with their old teams for whatever was on the table, because there was nowhere else to go. The union filed grievances after grievance, and this time it was provable. Two arbitrators, Thomas Roberts and then George Nicolau, ruled the same way every time. The owners had conspired. They had broken their own contract. In 1990, the owners settled. The bill, $280 million, roughly $11 million per team. So big the owners helped pay it off by expanding the league, selling new teams in Florida, Colorado, Arizona, and Tampa Bay. The commissioner who inherited the wreckage, Fay Vincent, said it to the owners' faces. He told them, "You stole $280 million from the players. So when the union says collusion in 2026, understand exactly what they're invoking. Not a metaphor, a crime the owners have already been caught committing once and paid for. And the triple damages clause they agreed to afterward, still in the contract. They wrote the punishment for their own next offense." But step back and ask the question sitting underneath all of it. How is any of this legal? A league with no cap? Owners who once fixed the market and got caught? 30 businesses that compete on the field and coordinate off it. In any other industry in America, that coordination has a name, and it's a federal crime.
The long-expected salary cap proposal officially submitted by league owners today. Players Union has said they'd never accept a salary cap. The hardline stances from both sides could mean this dispute threatens the start of the 2027 season and maybe beyond. Owners haven't proposed a firm cap since 1994. That led to a strike of more than 7 months and also a cancellation of the World Series.
The Sherman Antitrust Act exists to stop precisely this. Except baseball doesn't answer to it. In 1922, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that baseball was not interstate commerce, that a ballgame was, in the court's own words, purely a state affair, that the antitrust laws simply did not apply. The ruling was wrong the day it was written, and the court has all but admitted it for 100 years. But it has never been overturned, which makes Major League Baseball the only business in America legally allowed to operate as a monopoly. Not the NFL, not the NBA, baseball alone.
Either side and every scenario says we'll be looking at a lockout next year. Number one, you mentioned the World Series. Let's keep in mind the World Series started in 1903. We did not have a 1904 World Series because John McGraw, the manager of the New York Giants, didn't think the American Association was worthy to play. They played through World Wars I and II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and nothing stopped the World Series until greed of 1994. It's still painful in any fan's memory. So when we talk about this subject, keep one thing in mind. There are no winners. It's billionaires arguing with millionaires, and they're all being ignorant fools if they want to hold to their position and not find a way to keep this great game going.
And here's the part that matters for everything you'll see on this channel. The lockout, the collusion, the contracts that pay men 30 years after they retire. The minor leagues paid below minimum wage. Every one of those stories traces back to that single 1922 ruling. It is the rule beneath all the other rules. and it has earned a video of its own. So, when the doors close this winter, and they probably will, don't watch the players. Watch the rule that lets the owners close them. We read the contracts, you enjoy the game. This is Diamond Empire.